This is probably the hardest hitting loss I have had in quite a long time, guys.
That's reptile Richie.
What's up all you cool snakes and neonates? How's it going? I hope you guys are all keeping well. So today's video, as you've probably guessed by the thumbnail, it's not a good video at all. We're going to get into that in just a minute. And then, as you guys know, if I do a bad, if we do a sad episode, we always try and end it on a good note. So there is actually going to be a positive at the end of this video. We do have a new animal, which is I'm absolutely head over heels in love with. So we're going to meet that animal at the very end. But first things first, we're going to get you guys through this doom and gloom. I never hide anything from you guys. Exotic animal keeping, just like any other animal keeping, there are major ups and major downs. This unfortunately is a major down. This is not great at all. I'm going to start from the beginning and talk you guys through what has happened. So it started with actually noticing that Ruby, our female red-tailed boa, had an early stage respiratory infection, which is where basically it's like a cold for snakes. Unfortunately, snakes cannot cough or sneeze and get rid of the mucus. So for us, a cold is something you suffer through. You sneeze, you get rid of all the bogies in the snot, and you carry on, you get better. Fortunately with snakes, they can't get rid of that mucus. They can't sneeze it up, they can't get rid of it. They literally drown in their own mucus, in their own snot. It's horrible to watch, it's not very nice. So it's something you want to nip in the bud straight away. Luckily I check my animals regularly, foreshadowing a little bit here, but luckily I check my animals regularly and I catch them quickly. I've kept animals, exotics, and they've been a lifelong passion of mine. I've physically kept them for about 17 or 18 years now, quite some time. It's extremely rare that I've had respiratory infections. I can count on one hand how many I've had, or how many I've even seen in previous years. In fact, the most has been Hunter, our male Burmese python, used to get a basic early respiratory infection around about this time every year from a draft coming in the back door. So Ruby had an early stage respiratory infection. So I've got her started on medication through a humidifier into like a homemade IC box, like a nebulizer kind of thing. There's a heat mat under it. That gets filled up with humidity that's mixed in with the medication in the humidifier. And she's been getting doses of that. The next thing I noticed, it spread to my old man Marley, my male common boa that I've had for 16 years. The one animal, the oldest animal, I really didn't want catching it because he's so old. He then caught it, and I've just been absolutely in a tizzy. I've been super busy with work, and then the animals start dropping sick, and I was distracted. I went to buy rats. I put a rat order in for the animals. Of course, I buy all the food for the animals in bulk. When you guys make donations, that's exactly what the donations go towards, is straight towards the food for the animals. Whether it's at kids' parties where someone makes a cash donation at a job, or whether it's through the YouTube channel, when you guys hit the description button, that little arrow underneath the window where the video is, there's a description to the video, there's a PayPal link there. Some of you guys have donated in the past through that, which is always massively appreciated. But this time I went to put a food order in, and they didn't have the small mice which I needed for Akira and for Aurora. So I bought the same weight rats, which was about 12 grams, 12 to 14 grams or something like that. Fortunately the rats came and they were a bit bigger. I had my worries about it, but they smashed one, totally fine. The next week gave them another one because they're fed once a week, totally fine. Then I noticed Ruby's respiratory infection. Now, I've never been happy with the way Aurora's enclosure has been with the heating and things like that, but she's on top of Gimli there, and The temperature seemed fine. As you guys know, I had our enclosure set for about a week before we got our checking temperatures. However, we had a massive cold spike here in Scotland. The weather just changed, and when the weather changes, all the vivs seem to need their thermostats readjusted to bring out more heat in them, because I don't know why, but when things get colder they seem to not heat as much. Now, again, distracted with Ruby. Totally forgot to check Aurora's enclosure temperatures because she was hidden away back there. I went in, it hit me that I hadn't checked on her in about 4 days. I always leave them about 2 days after feeding anyway, and then 4 days after that was when I checked her. I noticed she looked like she still had a food bulge in her, which she shouldn't have. Now, snakes and reptiles need heat to digest their food. I picked her up and immediately I thought, she's lethargic. She seemed weird. She wasn't tongue flicking, she wasn't holding her head up. And I thought, oh dear, something's very wrong here. And as I was holding her, she just slowly got more and more limp and just started sagging. I tried putting her in a warm bath. Nothing. She perked up a little bit, but she couldn't even lift her head above the water. So I had to pull her head above the water, put her in a small enclosure with a heat mat underneath it just to try and give her heat to warm up. And then I watched her spasm and convulse. I was on FaceTime to my friend Will at the time. He produced Aurora. She was a gift from Will, and the two of us just watched her pass away right before our eyes. It was horrible. It was horrendous to watch. Now, I've had animals pass, very rarely, but it's quite common in like the tarantulas to pass. I mean, like I say, Marley, my old male boa, had him 16 years. I've had that man. I've done this for 17 years. I don't really lose animals often, but I have lost them. They were just your typical, the animals passed, you get a bit of grief, you miss them and you move on. With Aurora, I've never felt anything like this, and it's because I feel like I could have done something different. If I'd have checked on her within those 4 days, I would have known something was up and I could have done something about it. I've felt more than just grief through losing Aurora. I've felt sheer rage to myself. I was working the next day after she passed, and I spent the whole day in tears. Drove to work, I couldn't see, just for my eyes welling up and things like that. It's been more than just sheer grief. It's been absolute rage at myself, anger at myself. I've been so peeved at myself just because I felt like there's things I could have done differently. I should have checked her temperatures. I should have checked on her. I believe that maybe even when I put her in the water, she maybe, I think she inhaled some water and didn't have the energy to expel it. So basically, the original fault is she's had that mouse or that rat. She's not been able to digest it because the heat hasn't been enough. It's rotted in her stomach, and she's been poisoned from the inside out, kind of thing. To explain that as basic as I can, she's lost energy. And I couldn't save her in time. I couldn't get to her in time. So unfortunately, we did lose Aurora, our female IMG boa. Absolutely devastated with that one. It's been over a week now since she passed, and I'm going to have to make a video for you guys before you guys start asking for her. This is going to be a hard edit. I don't know if I'm going to manage to put B-roll in there, because if I have to put B-roll in, I have to look at her. And like I say, it's not normal grief. The rage I feel right now at myself is unbelievable. I don't know if I can look at her. We got her back from being cremated. When me and Will were there at the place to get her cremated, they were like, oh, we'll leave you with her and all this stuff. And I was like, lovely people. But I had to get out I had to get out of the room. I had to leave the crematorium. I was like, I can't do it. I had to leave. So yeah, this is going to be a tough edit. Another point is, while I was at the crematorium, I put into words something that I wouldn't have been able to put into words just when I was blethering to the guy. What I said to him is the reason that I think losing a reptile, especially Aurora, because I was like, she was only born in June. We only had her a couple of months. Why is this hurting so bad? But it hit me that with reptiles, snakes especially, and things like that, when they're babies, when they're newborn, everything is a predator to them. They're scared of everything. They're lashing out, they're biting. Aurora, when she first came, she was a little bit scared. She would throw a bite and a hiss and things like that. And unlike a dog or a cat that loves you just instantly, with a snake, you've got to work for that trust. You've got to work for that snake to want to, or at least tolerate being around you. You can't just pick it up and it be like, oh, I love you, Dad, kind of thing. You've got to work and build trust with that animal. And I'd already done that with Aurora, and I think that's why it hurt so bad, because I'd worked for that love. I'd worked for that trust. I know they don't feel love, but I'd worked for that trust kind of thing. So I think that's why it hurts so bad, even though she's so young. And I had her for such a short time. It was just literally because by the time she'd passed, she was a wonderful snake. She really was so nice. She was such a good little snake. And she will be massively missed for the short amount of time that she was here. Our poor little Aurora. Yeah, so that's your two sort of sad news. Aurora passed away, and a couple of the animals, Ruby and Marley, the old male boa, have got respiratory infections. We're still fighting those infections now. I think I've got rid of Marley's, or it looks like it's on the mend. Ruby's doesn't look to have gotten worse, but I can't say it's definitely looking like it's got better. If there's no improvement by Friday, I'm filming this on Wednesday, no idea when I'm going to be able to put it out, but if there's no improvement by Friday, she'll be going down to the vet. The only reason I'm holding off with taking her all the way to the vet is it's an hour and 20 minutes drive in a cold car with an animal that's already got a respiratory infection / a cold. So it's a last resort to take a sick animal like that to the vet. So yeah, that's that. Now let's have a look at this positive news, guys. This is our positive news, guys. This is our new animal. Have a look at this. If you guys remember the Will episode where we went to Will's house, I was handling this little guy and Will said, this is definitely coming home with you. Well, it came home with us. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, but Will said we're definitely taking it on and we're naming it after him. So meet my gecko Will, or as I've been calling him, Little Willie. Isn't he cute? Or she, we don't know, but I'm calling it he because we're calling it Will. Isn't it beautiful? This is a gargoyle gecko, and its morph is a genetic stripe. How cute is this little guy here? And as well as this beautiful little gecko, Will also gifted this great big Viv over here for him. Where are you going? Come on. Are you being silly? Nearly fell. So as well as this gorgeous little gecko right here, Will also gifted this beautiful big Exoterra as a forever home for this beautiful little guy. So he's going to be sorted out. I'm looking forward to getting this set up. I want to put some real plants in there and make it look pretty. Make it a Viv Will would be proud of. I'm going to have to grab this guy. There we go. So yeah, we've got little my gecko Will and a beautiful big enclosure for him. That's going to be exciting. So something pretty cool about this guy is sometimes he's one colour and sometimes he's another colour. And he likes to jump. You gonna have a wee jump? You jump. Boop. How cute is that? Look at that. So in all this sadness, this little guy is giving me a bit of a smile with his little cuteness. Are you super duper cute? Loves jumping in my beard, so I've got to kind of watch for that. You be careful. You be careful. So I've been spending my nights sitting holding this guy when I can. He's just so adorable. So look at this little guy here. So he changes colours. It goes this really light colour, and this is called being fired down. Tend to do this when they're a bit happier or when they are warmer, and then they'll also fire up. They'll darken up, so it could be just that they're too cold, or there could be a storm front coming in. There could be a multitude of reasons. It could also possibly be just because they feel like it, but sometimes or often I'll take him out and he'll be fired up, he'll be that dark colour, and as I handle him, probably actually, he's firing down now. They fire down, he'll lighten up as I'm handling him. It's probably because the heat of my hands are warming him up, so he won't need to be so dark to attract the heat. We've talked about that previously on the channel before. So yeah, he's you can see it now actually, he's lightening up right now. How cool is that? So it's like having two geckos in one, in two different colours. It's the most adorable thing. I love this little guy so much. Look at that little gecko. Isn't he so cute? He is. So guys, as always, I don't expect you to have enjoyed this video, but please don't forget to subscribe through my ugly mug up there. There'll be a playlist for you up there and a random video selected for you down there. From me, my gecko Will, and the rest of the gang, guys, take it easy. Peace.